There are cycling races that have existed long before us and, God willing, will be here long after. These are known as the monuments. 5 races, all multiple decades old, all legendary. One of these hallowed events is Milan-San Remo. If you win here, you've made your career. No matter how bad you do for the next few seasons, you'll always have Milan-San Remo, and it's all due to the prestige. For 114 editions, riders have been journeying nearly 300 miles from the economic capital of Milan, riding on the Ligurian coast of Italy, down to the beachside town of San Remo. This race has seen it all. It defined battles in the 1940s between Fausto Coppi and Gino Bartali. The Cannibal, Eddie Merckx, won here 7 times. In 1992, Irishman Sean Kelly came back on a thrilling descent to take the win in a 2-up sprint. There was the drama of an early celebration in 2004, a stunning solo win in 2008, and who could forget 2009, when hours of racing came down to millimeters in the final sprint. There is one year that stands out. It's a story from literature of man vs. nature, a reminder of what the earth is capable of, and a measuring stick of riders' bravery. That year is 2013. The weather forecast is calling for freezing temperatures and snow flurries as the riders leave Milan and head towards the coast. But as of right now, it is supposed to warm up to 50 degrees, with rain showers towards San Remo. No one is particularly excited about this weather, and everyone is aware that at the very least, the opening hours of the race will be less enjoyable than it usually is, and that the final descents could be treacherous. It's race day, March 17th. The riders are clad in as many layers as they can, praying that the act of racing their bike will warm them up. After a few minutes of racing, the traditional Milan-San Remo early breakaway goes, made up of riders that will get a good amount of TV time for the next few hours. Sort of. The weather gets drastically worse very, very quickly. The rain started to freeze as the temperature dropped, and then the riders' gears started to freeze. Helmets are covered in sleet, shifters are iced over, beards are ruined. Everyone looks like they've been punched in the face. The race organizers make a decision. They're neutralizing the race due to concerns over rider safety and, well, the weather. 50 kilometers of the course are cut out, and the riders climb into the team buses to get to the restart line. The question here is, who's willing to get off the warm team bus? Perhaps most surprisingly, the legendary Tom Boonen isn't. Here is a man who has won so much, multiple other monuments, world championships, stage wins, but in this situation, he isn't willing to move on with the race. And there's an argument here. A question of what's more important to you. Is it being safe, or is it racing your bike? No one can answer the question for you, and I think it goes beyond logic. You can call it toxic masculinity, stupidity, or whatever you will, but this is Milan-San Remo. It's a monument, it's a century of history, and to this day, I still have strong feelings towards people that didn't continue the race. But now, we have to turn our attention back to the actual race, the continuation, the individuals daring or dumb enough to continue on their journey. Nearly all the contenders are still left, still here racing in the bleak conditions. Among them is Fabian Cancellara. Cancellara is a powerhouse, and is nicknamed Spartacus for a reason. The consummate warrior, who in 2008 had that dramatic solo win, holding off the charging barbarians, a single man standing in defiance. These conditions, where only the strongest survive, is right up his alley. Also in the field is Ian Stannard, the British national champion hailing from Essex, who's no stranger to these conditions. 3 years ago, in freezing temperatures, strong wind, and torrential rain, weather even worse than today. Oh, and Boonen dropped out of that race too. There's some other riders that have an outside chance of winning. American Taylor Phinney comes to mind, and he's been America's best chance of winning a monument in this era. And Italian Luca Paolini has already won a semi-classic race this year. There is one name we haven't mentioned yet. They are the odds-on favorite to win, as they almost always are. Of course, we're talking about Peter Sagan. Sagan is flashy, he's daring, a generational talent, and will go down in history as one of the greatest of all time. Anything but a win here would be a disappointment for Sagan, and he and everyone else is aware of that. Now that we have the main contenders sorted, we're going to move now to the last 22 kilometers, as the race summits the penultimate climb of the day, the Cipressa. A lead group of around 40 riders clears a climb a few seconds ahead of the rest of the race. As we hit the flat in between the two final climbs, a lead group has been established of Stannard, Tour de France stage winner Sylvain Chavanel, and Russian champion Vorganov. And chances are that this group could, given a little bit of chaos behind, stay away. We approach the final hill of the day, the Poggio. This is where the final act begins, where the battle hits its crescendo. Stannard, Chavanel, and Vorganov hit the base of the climb with a 27-second lead over the peloton, which is being led by Peter Sagan's Cannondale team, looking to make the bookies happy. The final climb begins. Chavanel and Stannard both push the pace, and the Russian national champion just can't hold on. Back to the peloton, and the Ukrainian national champion Grivko leads the chase and launches his teammate Iglinski to bridge the gap. He catches Vorganov, and now, with 1 kilometer to the top, here's how the race looks. Chavanel and Stannard are leading. Iglinski is 15 seconds behind them, and another 15 seconds behind is a peloton, with Sagan, Cancellara, and Pizzato all there. Iglinski's fading, and he's caught by the main group, and Luca Paolini makes a move, and right behind him is Peter Sagan. And so is Cancellara, Pizzato, and a German sprinter named Gerard Ciolek, who won a stage of the Volta a España 4 years ago, but not much else. Over top of the Poggio, Stannard and Chavanel have 10 seconds in hand as they fly down the Italian streets. Sagan is leading the group behind, and by 3.7 kilometers to go, all 6 riders are together. Stannard takes a few bike-length lead at the end of the descent, and Sagan leads the chase, and then attacks. This move is perhaps unwise. On the one hand, he's the fastest sprinter in this group and could easily wait. On the other, he's also the strongest in this group, and if everyone refuses to work and bring him right to the line, the peloton behind will surely catch them. Cancellara leads the chase, and without hesitation, the Englishman Stannard makes his move, revving the diesel engine that are his legs. Sagan again takes impetus to close this down, and as the batter comes under the 1 kilometer to go banner, all 6 men are together. The pace slows down in the final corners, and the tension is palpable. This could change careers, change lives and trajectories, and hours of racing will come down to a few dramatic seconds. All 6 of these men braved the elements and stayed strong. But who's the strongest? They enter the final stretch in order of Stannard, Sagan, Ciolek, Cancellara, Chavanel, and Paolini. All of their heads are moving like owls from side to side, trying not to miss the start of the sprint. And it's Chavanel who jumps first from the back. Sagan sees this, puts his head down, and goes. Right behind is Ciolek, but he's not behind anymore. He's right next to Sagan. No one else can come around these two, and we're witnessing one of the beautiful things about sport. On their day, the complete underdog, someone not mentioned in any previews, can fight nature itself, beat all the odds, and come away a champion. Ciolek never went on to win another monument or anything big. That's the beauty of the monument races. One day, one chance, do or die. Ciolek did.